Okay, what we do in the first place is we cut a piece a little wider than what we need. And then what we do is pop that up a little bit. I'll shove that under there eventually. What we do is we put it up here and we kind of mold it to the area a little bit. Curve it. Not too much, like over here, we'll end up just cutting it. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, cutting that and that curve there, and then we'll add another piece to curve there. How we hold on initially, before we get crazy, is we use just regular track nails. You always got to watch out for those track nails that ain't pointy. Now, track nails in of itself is not going to hold it here with the foam. This is just initially to hold it down and the form of how we want it. What we will do once we tack this down, we will hot glue it in place. We'll squeeze some glue down in these crevices, now help hold it. And then when that's dry, then we'll take the gun back over it and slowly squeeze out a little bit, enough to fill these little squares. And that'll hold it even more, because hot glue will hold to the foam indefinitely. And the wrapping of the glue around the metal, the aluminum, will help hold that. In the straight sections, one nail per little foam block was fine, but when you get in the curves, you need to use two. One on each corner of each little block, or zigzag. Okay, now we're going to start on the hot glue. I'm going to start over here. Like I said, do in between the zigzags. Push down a little bit when you do it. That way some of the screen goes down in there. So you have a little more glue on top. Make sure it doesn't pop back up as you go. You can see it drip down between the foam, so it's got a lot of holding power. I guess you could use like liquid nail and stuff, but I think it'd be kind of messy. Plus, paint don't adhere to it too well, and the plaster definitely doesn't stick to it either. Now, because of the foam being so thick right here, the hot glue, sorry, we're going to let this dry first before we do on top where the nails are. Now sometimes it'll pop up, So it's good to weigh that front down a little bit. Take like a nail set. Just make sure all these little nails are down. Especially while that foam's nice and warm. Push down a lot easier. What we'll do is we'll give this about, a half an hour to dry. And then we'll come back and do the tops. Since there'll be a light coat on top, it'll dry pretty fast. And then what we'll do for the next layer, for down here, is we got an electric staple gun. And we'll staple this where we want the hill to end, and then cut off the extra. There we go. Perfect. Leave it alone. That's the hard part, letting the glue dry. One thing I should also mention while you're waiting that 30 minutes, make sure you unplug this. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. That first round of glue should be dry. So now we're going to go back and do the other areas, fill in the gaps. Like right there. Okay, and then we're going to just hold this on the mesh, warms it up a little bit. Just go back and forth with the trigger, just barely pulled, so a little bit of glue comes out. Get nice and flat on there. It's a pain to fix later. Make sure you get the top of the nail heads too. That way they stay to the mesh. They won't pop out later out of the plaster for any reason. Now you also want a hot glue gun that's really, really warm, but not enough to melt the foam into a lump of nothing. Fix that. Okay. I already got another one tacked down, so I'm going to start filling between the foam. Remember to push down a little bit. Hopefully my big noggin ain't in the way. Nice cold rainy day out, so not dressed for success, that's sure. About due for another glue stick. There, I got nothing there. And like I said, while it's hot, make sure you unplug your hot glue gun between rounds. And just go around and push it a little bit more home. As the foam's warm, it won't tear. You actually just kind of mold around the foam, the nail head will. Hold it a little tighter too. The advantage of doing it this way over, like, let's say cardboard straps, you get a smoother surface, and it's also very flat to your can't even think of it, to your road bed. That way, if you had the cardboard and then that, most of your road bed might disappear and it won't look quite right. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. Make sure that's down. Just lay that there just for the heck of it. And next thing we will do on this is we'll show you how to fold this down and staple it around. One other thing I forgot, I wanted to show you, is as we curve around here and get closer and closer, gonna have to make a steeper wall so it doesn't get in the way of any trains or cars or anything like that. And with the zigzag pattern of the foam, these in between sections you'll get like they'll want to sink down into there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, ta-da, our extra road bed, and we're gonna glue it to there like that. And it'll help slope down and then slope there and then here, and a little bit of a curve and staples. So once we get to about here, we'll taper this mesh down, and then just, let me show you way over here. As we get behind the roundhouse, it'll get closer and closer where it'll just be a wall. Okay, with the hot glue now cooled down, we started to do this seam with hot glue. We only did halfway because we need to be able to fold this in on itself and fold that seam on itself and go around. We're going to take this staple gun. This is my wife's father's old one. His name is Vern. Very cool guy. Tool made back in the 80s. They just last forever. So what we do is we push this down till we get the contour exactly how we want it. Hold it and watch your ears. It's going to be loud. Okay. You could use screws and stuff, but I'm using these because they won't show a head on them and they won't pull through the screen. You can see it draws a lot of power, these old tools. The lights are flashing every time I do this. Unlike today's nail guns though, this don't have a safety, so watch your fingers. Don't pull the trigger while it's facing you. Sometimes they'll get a little messed up. Don't worry about that. We'll reset those. Okay, match this one up, and we're going to put a staple right across it. Yep, that's the right contour. Put another one there just in case. Okay. How many staples I got? Plenty. Okay. sure that looks how it should. Like I said, watch your fingers. Okay, now what we do is we come back with the scissors and we cut on the other side of the staple. Between the staple and the ballast. There we go. Once you get started, it's easier. Pull up the piece. There. Now just check along here and make sure there's a, you can go a little shorter on that. If there's any areas that seem a little loose, go back and put some extra staples between them. So you don't have such a sharp angle there. It curves nicely, just like over here. Okay, what you do after that, I gotta go get a hammer. I was using it for another job, but just go along and make sure those staples are all the way down, pushed good, so don't get any movement. Come along with the hot glue gun, fill this area, put a little between here just to hold it together till you get the plaster cloth on. And we're gonna plaster up to here and then figure that out. Okay, now for the part you've been waiting for, putting plaster cloth on. We're going to do it a little bit differently. Most people put it in a bowl of water and then throw it on. What I do is get it pre-cut to how I kind of want it. Put it up there. And what I do is stir at the top and just slowly wet it. That way, less chances of creases or it's folding on itself. Gives me some time to move it. Plus, as it wets, the plaster drips between the mesh and holds it on there a little bit better. Okay, and as I go down a little bit and do some more. And some more. I also use this so it don't, instead of a regular brush, so it don't drag it around as much. See, it just dragged that a little bit. Use my finger. Sometimes after I use this brush, same brush for a lot, a lot of stuff kind of becomes sticky. So just tack it on there. Sorry about the voice. See how that just blends right in there? And then for the next piece, goes right about there. A little bit of an overlap. Blend those seams a little bit. Not worried about making all those little air holes disappear on the first layer. But there you go. There's the first layer. I'll let that dry overnight and then continue this little section right here. Thank you for watching and tune in to the next video on this.